Hello, good morning and welcome to Sunrise Sports on 3FM 92.7. My name is Kelvin Owusu Ansah. Let's get into the world of sports, starting from Asamoah, who announced his retirement on Tuesday. While several people have been pouring out some words of commendation to his illustrious career, and the latest is the former vice president of the Ghana Football Association, Mr. Fred Papo, who has eulogized Asamoah after his retirement from football. The former captain of the Black Stars, who announced his retirement on Tuesday, has been remembered for his glorious days with the senior national team.
Well, I think he'll be among the greatest of the greats. He should be up there. I think he should be up there with the biggest that we've had as a nation. And I would say it's a blessing that Ghana had a player like a personality like Asamoah to grace our football field. And he did his all in every single game I saw him play. He was a committed person, and we can only be grateful. We can never thank him well enough. And genuinely, I wish him very well in this new endeavor. I'm sure he's going to take the same zeal, the same mentality, the same attitude with which he approached playing as a striker onto his next line of life. So his next line of life, I believe he's going to do well also wherever he finds himself.
Well, so that is from Fred Papo, Jan, who has already held a coaching course in UEFA License B, where the Welsh Football Federation is expected to get into management. According to Fred Papo, he says he has the quality to become one.
Well, it's good if he says he wants to go into coaching, because he's been exposed to a lot of coaches. He's played at the highest level, and I'm sure he started taking his coaching training programs very seriously. I believe he's getting almost close to the top level. I'm quite sure Asamoah will turn out to be a very good coach. He has the right mentality to succeed.
Well, Jan has the right mentality to succeed, according to the former vice president of the Ghana Football Association, Fred Papo. Now moving on, former Asante Kotoko SC striker Mark Eduamufa has officially launched a foundation aimed at offering opportunities to young Ghanaian footballers to develop their talent. The former Black Satellites and Meteors forward is focused on offering opportunities to the young Ghanaian child, with emphasis on balancing education and football, highlighting the need to create awareness that young players can't pursue both.
Well, it's very important because, like I said, I dream of this day. I've been wanting this for some time, and I was told we can't do anything until we launch it, and finally we've done it. So yeah, it's very, very important. Going forward, you should expect more programs from AA Sports International. Coming weeks we will roll out some of the program. Like I said, they have short-term, we have short-term and long-term, but that will come from them. They don't want us to. So just look forward to it. Oh, we've done a couple of charities. It's just that you guys didn't publish it. Yes, we've done a couple of them, and then we are looking forward to do more in coming weeks. And in terms of, we said what has got into, yes, we've donated a lot of equipment and kits to schools, to teams, and we are yet to do more.
Well, yet to do more. That is Mark Eduamufa for a very laudable idea and program from him. Now moving on, Black Stars head coach Chris Hughton has spoken about the importance of coaching education after the UEFA assist capacity training that was held to enrich the technical abilities of the locally based coaches in the Ghana Premier League, the Division 1, the Women's Premier League, and also juvenile football.
My expectations from the coaches.
Yes, please.
No, my expectation from the coaches is to learn as much as possible and to develop as much as possible. And remember, these things don't happen overnight. Yeah. You cannot start this capacity and then in 1 year you have the perfect coaches. It doesn't work that way. This is all about development and over a period of time, I'm quite sure the association will evaluate where we are at that particular time, whether they're happy with things, whether they're not. And it's always, with anything like this, any schedules, plans, it's about assessing, continuing assessing. But what you want to see is progress. You want to see progress in the coaches. You want to see them very much improve on what they can produce at their own club levels. But it's about a thirst for knowledge. Okay, that ultimately it's down to the coaches. The coaches have to have that thirst for knowledge. They want to have to improve, and they want to have to show that.
That is from Chris Hutton, the head coach for the senior national team, the Black Stars of Ghana. Now moving on a step lower to the national under 23, the Olympic team and Ghana's delegation for the 2023 Total Energies under 23 Cup of Nations have arrived in Rabat, Morocco, where they will be based for their group stage matches. A delegation made up of players, technical staff and officials arrived in Rabat on Wednesday evening from Cairo, where they had been on a pre-tournament tour. The team had 2 friendly matches and also held various training sessions, very intensive ones in Alexandria and Cairo, to put them in pole position for the tournament. Ghana would be in Group A facing Congo in the opening match on Sunday, the 25th of June at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, a day after the opening match of the competition. Ghana will also then take on tournament host Morocco in the second group match on Tuesday, 27th of June at the same venue before the last round of group matches against Guinea at the Grand Stade de Tangier. 2 best teams from Group A and Group B will advance to the semi-final stage of the competition, where the winner of the tournament and the 2 runner-ups will qualify to compete in the 2024 Olympic Games men's soccer competition in Paris next year. Well, some very interesting news coming in for Ghanaian midfielder Edmond Addo, and he's signed for Serbian champions Red Star Belgrade on a 4-year deal which will keep him there until June 2027. Addo completed his medicals on Wednesday after a successful national assignment with the Black Stars in a goalless draw against Madagascar in the African Nations Cup qualifiers. Addo joined Subotica from Moldovan giant Sheriff Tiraspol last January and suffered a great deal of injuries, appearing only 16 times for Sparta Subotica without a goal or assist. Well, he joins fellow Ghanaian compatriot, that is Osman Bukari, at Red Star Belgrade. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Alban Baben, has made a pledge of 100,000 Ghana cedis to Ghana Premier League champions Mediama SC ahead of their CAF Champions League campaign. The Takwa-based club clinched a historic first Ghana Premier League title with a 3-0 victory over Tamale City on the final day of the season at the Akun Park, ending the Western Region's 47-year league title drought. Well, as part of the Champions Trophy Tour, the trophy was also presented to Parliament by the team's management while congratulating them on their achievement. They've also earned a sum of 100,000 Ghana cedis from Tobinco Group of Companies, according to that is the club's communications director Patrick Akoto. The executive chairman of the Tobinco Group, Mr. Samuel Amotoben, handed over the physical cash to the players and promised to support the club ahead of the CAF Champions League campaign. Well, moving away, many have been wowed by the recent purchases of Chelsea players to Saudi Arabia, but Richard Dossett of Sky Sports has given an indication of what Chelsea are trying to do with their current squad under the new management, Todd Boehly and Ebad Ibali.
This is a reset for Chelsea, and it feels like a sort of transfer window that will have to be a reset for them when they've got to lose all those players. Not just because if they carried on spending with the wages that they did last season, they would be way out in terms of their financial fair play considerations in 2 years' time. Remember, it goes over a 3-year period. So they're okay. They overspent last year, but they can make that back. They've got to start making that back. They can't keep signing players. And it's pretty clear that with a new manager in place, they'd like to sign some new players. They've got to get some out the door first. So, and what I think the biggest problem they're going to have is moving these players on, because they're all on huge wages. We know that the Premier League clubs pay bigger wages than most other clubs around Europe. So who can afford to buy these players? Who are these players prepared to take wage cuts to move elsewhere? It's not going to be easy to get these players out. And that's why Saudi have got such an easy option here, because they're one of the few countries, one of the few set of clubs that can afford to pay the sort of wages that Chelsea have been paying. So it's no surprise to me at all that 4 or 5 players that Anton's listed there are linked with moves to Saudi Arabia. That may be the only option for some of those players.
So that is Richard Dossett of Sky Sports giving us an indication of what to expect from Chelsea. Well, we get into the transfer news and we'll be speaking a lot more about that. But before that, AS Roma manager Jose Mourinho has been handed a 4-match ban by UEFA for his misconduct towards referee Anthony Taylor in the Europa League final. Mourinho was charged by UEFA for using insulting or abusive language towards the English official after Roma lost to Sevilla in the heated final on the 31st of May. The 60-year-old Portuguese coach received a booking from English referee Anthony Taylor during the match in which Roma lost to Sevilla in a penalty shootout after a 1-0 draw. Well, that is not only the sanction in that is European club competition. West Ham United have also been punished for throwing objects at Fiorentina players during the UEFA Europa Conference League final. Well, they will have a travel ban for the next 2 European away games, and also it is expected that they will pay a fine of £50,000. So that is the latest ban on that is West Ham United. Now let's move on to Liverpool left back Andy Robertson, and after the international break he's teamed up with other members of the Liverpool team for pre-season, and he says he's already thinking about the new season.
I think I'll probably need a week off from football. I think I need a wee week to switch off and just spend some much family time needed, and then obviously we'll start to refocus. It's not a long break. Obviously the international breaks are getting kind of more into June now, and we'll probably only get about 3 weeks off, so not long, but it's important that I try and switch off mentally and physically, and then we'll start switching on slowly but surely, and then pre-season we'll just go with everything we've got. We have to do that. Obviously we missed out in Champions League, which was hugely disappointing, but we've got to go for every trophy going, and that includes the Europa League, and then next season let's see, we've got to try and be better, we've got to try and be pushing at the top again, and hopefully we can do that.
Hopefully they would be able to do that. Well, Manchester United fans are a bit worried that their club has been very inactive in the transfer market. Well, they are waiting on final decisions to be made also on the sale of a club to a new owner. But according to my colleague Yalfo Sulabi, even if money is made available, Eric Ten Hag's talent identification cannot be trusted to bring in the best players to compete next season.
That for me, I have said it in your different quarters that I don't think that Eric Ten Hag's identification of talent is up there. And
does Man United have a sporting director?
No, United does not have.
Do you think you need a sporting director?
I think the club needs a sporting director, because there's no way in hell that anybody would sell De Gea and buy Jordan Pickford. It's not something. It's not something that should be happening.
Yeah.
I mean, for all of De Gea's misdemeanors, if I should say, I don't think that Jordan Pickford corrects those things. If Eric Ten Hag is saying he wants to play from the back, have you seen Pickford playing from the back?
Very strong words there from Yalfo Sulabi. He doesn't trust his coach. Well, let's have a quick listen to some transfer news summed up by Eric Wampofo.
Ilkay Gundogan's time at treble win in Manchester City has come to an end. The German, who is a free agent, has agreed a 2-year deal with Barcelona, valid until June 2025, with an option for a further year. The citizens have already begun strengthening their midfield and have agreed a deal to sign Chelsea midfielder Mateo Kovacic. It's been a day of outgoings for Chelsea. Kai Havertz could soon become one of the Premier League's most expensive signings of the summer transfer window. Arsenal is close to agreeing a £65 million deal for the German. Chelsea forward Hakim Ziyech is on the verge of joining Al Nassr in the Saudi Pro League. Kalidou Koulibaly to Al Hilal and Edouard Mendy to Al Ahly are getting close to being completed. Chelsea could get around €40 million for both. N'Golo Kante has joined Saudi Arabia champions Al Ittihad on a 3-year deal. The only Chelsea sale currently on hold is Mason Mount. Manchester United's interest in the English midfielder has solidified into 2 bids, with the latest being a £50 million offer tabled and rejected by the Blues, despite having only 1 year left on his contract. Manchester United are the only club in the race to sign Inter Milan goalkeeper Andre Onana, according to reports from Sky Italy. Newcastle are closing in on an agreement with AC Milan to sign Italy international Sandro Tonali for a fee in the region of €70 million. Roma has finalized the signing of centre-back Ivan Ndika. Ndika was available as a free agent after failing to agree terms with Eintracht Frankfurt on a new contract.
All a lot more transfer news will be coming up later this week. Now, finishing off with some tennis, Stefano Tsitsipas was humbled to a 7-6, 7-5 victory by Chile's Nicolas Jarry in the last 16 of the Hill ATP Grass Tournament on Thursday. The Greek second seed, being a wild card for the event in Western Germany, prepares for Wimbledon next month. There was also victory for Alexander Zverev, winning 6-2, 6-4 over Canadian Denis Shapovalov. Well, he's expected to meet Jarry in the next phase of the competition, that is the last 8. Daniel Medvedev got the better of Laszlo Jarry 6-3, 6-7, 6-3, and is next up against Spain's Roberto Bautista Agut, who had to defeat Brandon Nakashima in 2 tight sets. Well, that'll be all for sports this morning. My name is Kelvin Owusu Ansah. Well, from George A.E.C. Brownton, this is a special birthday message to Thelma Obeng. Well, Thelma, have a very brilliant day. It's a very good Thursday morning. It's cool and it's clear. Enjoy the rest of the morning on Sunrise with the team. But before that, DJ Abiam, as always, makes your morning beautiful with his tunes.